got April Player of the Month, the World Cup trophy stopping in Birmingham, and 4 teams that could accelerate in the second quarter of the season. Welcome to All Top, all USL talk, USL covering latest scores, news, and developments. In the second highest division of the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I am your host, as always, Vince Galvano. Happy Monday, May 11. Hope all is well in your world. As what's going on in the USL Championship, back to action this weekend. There was a lot of headlines last weekend with news outside of the championship. This weekend, though, it was back to the action that had a lot to reveal about what's been going on with certain teams and others. More so, we know that the USL Cup is returning to action this weekend, but we have plenty to talk about. I mean, we've got Wolfgang Prentice taking home Player of the Month after a breakout April in Oakland, who are making some serious sound in the West. A Derby del Camino Real that delivered one of the goals of the season, and a draw that's pretty much more of a win for El Paso than New Mexico, I'd have to argue. We'll talk about that. Pittsburgh walking into Louisville with a performance that raises a real question about the defending champs, but that's not all. Hartford finally finds a response after what was a brutal scoring drought. Tampa Bay's unbeaten run faces another test. Are they still unbeaten? And San Antonio do stay atop of the West, but maybe leave us with more questions than answer. But we're also talking Birmingham, where the World Cup trophy made its stop in the Magic City, and what that says about soccer's growth around Legion and the wider USL landscape. And another thing that was mentioned in the Rondo Report, the weekly USL newsletter by Nicholas Murray, 4 teams that could accelerate in the second quarter of the USL Championship this season after a quarter that's already been done. Which 4 teams are that? We'll talk about it. But more so, and importantly, you can always follow me everywhere at Talk USL across socials. You can DM me there. You can write me at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. From the social side of things, probably going to phase out the X account soon. So if you're looking for content that's more short captions, Blue Sky, Threads, that's where you'll find me. But after all, this is a podcast and found everywhere where podcasts are available. Let's talk Oakland roots. Wolfgang Prentice being voted USL Championship Player of the Month for April. This on May 7th from the USLChampionship.com. They announced that Oakland roots midfielder Wolfgang Prentice was voted by Konami eFootball for April in terms of the Player of the Month, recording 2 goals, 2 assists in 3 league appearances to help the side continue its strong start to the season. Currently in his 5th season with the Roots, Prentice is enjoying a breakout campaign after establishing himself a regular starter a season ago. The 26-year-old recorded 2 goals, 2 assists in 3 league appearances, averaging a goal contribution, averaging 63.8 minutes, scoring on both of his 2 shots in the month while recording 5 chances created overall. Let's talk about the journey for Wolfgang Prentice, because it's been a long one. He went on loan spells in USL League One across his first 3 seasons with Oakland to Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC, Forward Madison FC, before emerging as a key piece for the side. In terms of what he had to say regarding the honor, he said, "Hey, obviously it's an honor to be named Player of the Month. I have been in this league for a while, and it's a big honor and a great time for me in my career." Prentice has recorded 4 goals and 3 assists overall this regular season, sitting tied for 3rd in the league in goal contributions leading up to this past weekend, while playing a variety of roles, with the side facing absences due to injury, suspension. Prentice lined up at left back for the side's April 22 contest against Las Vegas, just to give you an example, and still produced a pair of assists, combining with Peter Wilson, the forward, on both of those occasions. So the quality he's brought to the field this season has been a major plus for New Roots head coach Ryan Martin, as the side looks to return to the postseason this year. Coach Ryan Martin had this to say about Wolfgang. He said, he means a lot for him and all of us at the Roots. He has done a great job since the season started, helping us reach our current position. His ability to run in behind and his ability to be very dynamic, and his ability to both create for himself and others, elite for this league. Prentice earning 41% of a weighted poll that included USL Championship Technical Committee, National Panel of Independent Media representing every USL market, and an online fan vote held each time at USLChampionship.com. Phoenix Rising's Isan Sako finished 2nd on 39% of the total vote after recording a league-high 4 goals and 3 appearances over the month. The other 2 contenders was Corey Bennett from Colorado and Marcus Anderson from Brooklyn. Marcus Anderson getting 15% of the total vote. Corey Bennett with only 5% of the total vote. But the fan vote, 53% went to Isan Sacco. Only 31% going to Prentice. Corey Bennett did finish with 10%, with Marcus Anderson finishing 6% of the fan vote. I talked about that last week, the fact that Brooklyn's a new team, so from their marketing standpoint, they really need to get out there and tell their fans, hey, when it comes to getting a contender on the line, make sure to get out there and vote, because that weight is crucial when it comes to determining who gets the award for Player of the Month, boosting that morale for your players. But congratulations to Wolfgang Prentice, and something is in the waters right now at Oakland because they're doing really well. Let's talk about those 4 teams that could accelerate in the second quarter of the USL Championship season. This was a featurette on the Rondo, the official USL newsletter, this past week. 4 teams currently really in the lower half of their respective conferences that could potentially make a move between now and the end of Week 17. We just finished Week 9, I believe, the USL Championship. So let's see who those 4 teams are. Starting first in the Western Conference, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, who are into this past weekend, the current record 2-2-3 with 9 points, sitting in 8th. Had this to say about the Switchbacks: that they're bullish, they're swashbuckling attached, which currently ranks 3rd in the league with 13.65 expected goals mark and a plus 3.73 expected goal differential. The challenge for head coach Alan McCann's side has been at the other end of the field. The side has leaked goals, tied for 21st in the league with 13 goals against. But if Colorado Springs fixes that area, it should be on the rise soon. We've seen it. They have been scoring goals nonstop. It's just about plugging those holes in the defense and try not to leak as much, and perhaps that can turn their fortune and to put them up a bit more high in the Western Conference. You also have Lexington Sporting Club, who are 1-4-3 with 6 points, 11th in the Western Conference going into this past weekend, and there was understandable hype around Lexington, me included. Only perennial all-league selection Aaron Malloy has made a serious dent in terms of performance. At the same time, Lexington's underlying numbers are good. It boasts a plus 1.01 expected goal differential compared to a negative 3 differential on the field. And if the attack led by Phillip Goodrum gets going, the boys in green can make a serious upswing. And that happened this past weekend, especially for Phillip Goodrum as well as Firmino. They both found themselves on the end of the score sheet. And that might be what tilts Lexington towards this second quarter of the season. Another team in the Western Conference, the defending Western Conference champions, FC Tulsa. They just had a 2-win Week 9, which might have been the start of something big. We'll talk about the Monterey Bay game that we had not covered because we recorded on Sunday last time around, but besides 4-1 win against El Paso, against that 10-man side was really a solid way to just sort of reintroduce yourself, saying we got plenty of goals in us, especially if we can leverage the fact that we have an extra man on the field. But Tulsa is one of the 3 teams in the top 7 in expected goals and expected goals against so far this season. The other 2, Tampa Bay Rowdies and Louisville City, currently 1-2 in the Players' Shield race. So there you go. Eastern side of it, only one team that was mentioned in those 4 sides, and that was Rhode Island, who are 2-3-2 going into this weekend. They have not only had a positive expected goal differential at a plus 2.68 mark, it ranks in the top 7 in expected goals against at an 8.62 expected goals against mark through 7 games. So consistency in the attacking third has been the element holding the 2024 Eastern Conference title holders back. Rhode Island has looked great in some outings and less so in others, but the firepower, tactical know-how, Kano Smith is still present to make a move. Let's see what happens. We'll talk about them because they took on the undefeated side, Tampa Bay, over the weekend. Let's talk about all the action as well from the midweek going into the weekend. But first, the goal of the week from week 8/9 goes to 52% of the vote. Fan-wise, Jonathan Rodriguez of Las Vegas, 27-year-old, back on May 2nd against Lexington, turned into space, ripped home a strike from 25 yards, the top right corner of the net to start the Lights' comeback for a victory against Lexington. So huge there. Congratulations to him. J.J. Williams was the other one that finished close to it, but 26% of the vote second there. That was the match against Charleston when he had, notched his 50 regular season goals for his career with a blistering finish in the top left corner. You also had Stefan Stojanovic from Brooklyn against Miami there, as well as Jorge Hernandez with San Antonio against Colorado back on May 2nd. and he received possession from 35 yards from the goal, feinted to shoot once to create the space, and then curl it finished in the top left corner of the net for his second goal of the night. He's been great for San Antonio this far this season. But yeah, congratulations to Jonathan Rodriguez. We also need to talk about Birmingham and the fact that they had the World Cup trophy in Alabama, which is pretty cool. But let's get into the action. Once we talk about Birmingham's match against Miami, we'll talk about that too. Starting first with the Derby del Camino Real, which took place on Wednesday night. A really, really good contest here at the Lab. New Mexico going out with a 4-2-3-1. Shakes in between the pipes. Jake LaCava on the right side of the back line. Howell and Hamalainen in the middle. Gloucester on the left side. A pivot defensive midfield duo of Zico Bailey and Ousmane Jabang. And then a midfield three of the left midfielder, Dayon Harris. Valentin Noel in the center. And Neil Reed-Steven on the right. Greg Hurst up top for New Mexico. From El Paso side of things, Sebastian Moore in between the pipes went with a 4-1-4-1 formation. Noah Dolenmeyer, Nicholas Cardona, both center backs. Alvaro Quesada on the right side in the right back position. Ricky Ruiz on the left. And then midfield five in the middle, Robert Coronado, Carl Fred Sante, and Eric Calvillo, who made a really big monumental performance in this match too. We'll talk about him. Alex Mendez on the right, Armando Moreno on the left, and none other than Rubio Rubin in the top for the Locos. So let's get into this match. It was a bunch of energy in Albuquerque, and New Mexico United nearly struck first when Ousmane Jabang hit the post in the 4th minute. Instead, it was El Paso who found the opener in the 12th. Rubio Rubin collecting a pass at the top of the area from Alex Mendez. He turned, finished low into the corner for his 6th goal of the season. It was really tremendous awareness from Rubin. He was almost offside. He looks over his right shoulder. He sees Jake LaCava just really kind of approaching the area, facing his net because Armando Moreno is making a run inside the box. That puts LaCava in position to keep Rubin on side, but instead awareness from Rubin to realize where's the line before him. He knows he's about to receive the pass. Where's the line? He steps into it, and then he receives it and turns and shoots. Tremendous awareness from the striker there. New Mexico answered immediately, and it was none other, 2 minutes later, Greg Hurst getting on the end of a low ball from Jake LaCava and backheeling, flicking it home to tie the match in between the legs of Sebastian Moramora. Really nice goal here. Tremendous stuff from Greg Hurst, and it just gets better and better for New Mexico from there on, because in the 24th minute, he strikes again, this time finishing from Ousmane Jabang's pass to complete a first half brace, give United the lead heading into the break. It was a really nice find from Ousmane Jabang. Meanwhile, Hurst positioned himself so nicely. He's in between the right back and the center back. Receives it on his left, takes a touch forward to set him up for the shot, shoots it low into the far post. Nothing Moramora could do about that one. And then it was, let's bunker a little bit, because here comes the onslaught from El Paso side. They became much more sharp in the second half. They tilted the game back in their direction. Chris Shakes, in between the pipes from New Mexico, had to make 6 saves on the night as Locomotive pushed for that response. And they almost managed to hold off, but the pressure finally just paid off in the 86th minute. Diego Abitia produced the moment of the match, sending a bicycle kick, that's right, into the corner to pull El Paso level. It was an early cross that took Shakes out of the net. He couldn't get his fist onto it. It popped up and set up nicely for Abitia. He bikes it home. It wasn't the best bicycle kick we can really say. It was spectacular like a Gareth Bale in the Champions League final, but it was really nice to be in a position. He gets on and he shoots it overhead kick style, and it just bounces towards the tail end of the far post. No one there to clear it off the line, and it leaves the rivals to settle for a dramatic 2-2 draw. And I really think it's one of those draws that feels more like a win for El Paso as opposed to New Mexico, who were so close from getting the 3 points in this one. But Hurst, he finds his finishing touch, and we have a bicycle kick that steals the Derby spotlight. But Greg Hurst ending his scoring drought in style, a brace in the first half to flip the match after New Mexico conceded early. He was the headline performer for New Mexico, scoring his first 2 goals of the 2026 season, finishing with 3 shots on target. Good movement, good finishing. El Paso, though, second half was relentless, outshooting New Mexico heavily after the break, eventually forcing that late equalizer. Rubio Rubin continuing his strong start to the season with his 6th league goal, putting him tied for first in the USL scoring race, and Abitia changing the game off the bench, entering the 86th minute, scoring 4 minutes later with a bicycle equalizer. But I talked about the milestone, Eric Calvillo also hitting the fact that he is El Paso's all-time appearances leader across all competitions with 140 appearances. The mainstay. If you're going to get a jersey for El Paso, Calvillo is the name you want on the back. That is for sure. Good investment there, but a really solid game. A really fun Derby del Camino Real. A 2-2 match is always a great match, especially for the neutral. In terms of some key statistics, we can say that from New Mexico side of things, 6 shots on goal. Their home unbeaten streak is extended to 9 matches. From El Paso side, they had 8 shots on goal. So that's really good to see. They recorded 19 second half shots in total, the most by any team in the second half in the USL Championship this season. And they remain unbeaten on the road in league play. So there you have it there. A 2-2 draw that gave us a lot from the Derby del Camino Real, but certainly a draw that feels more like a win for El Paso than it does for New Mexico. Birmingham taking on Miami, but soccer's biggest prize landing in Birmingham. This is one of those moments where the bigger soccer world briefly touches the USL map. The FIFA World Cup trophy made a stop in Birmingham this past week as part of its 2026 trophy tour, and we're talking about the trophy, 18-karat gold, more than 13 pounds, and a design that dates back to 1974. The symbolism here, pretty cool. Birmingham is not hosting any World Cup games. Fans will have to probably travel over to Atlanta for that, but FIFA is still making its presence felt in the Magic City. The trophy was unveiled at Coca-Cola's United East Lake facility with 2002 World Cup winner Jose Kleberson on hand, alongside Birmingham Mayor Randall Woodfin and representatives from Legion FC, and that Legion connection matters. The trophy was set to be on display in Uptown and also tied into Birmingham Legion's match day at Protective Stadium. So this isn't just a random corporate stop. It's another sign that Birmingham is being treated like a real soccer market. You also add in the opening of the country's first FIFA Arena outdoor soccer court downtown early this past year that was supported by Birmingham native and U.S. men's national team defender, Crystal Palace player Chris Richards. And suddenly there's a larger story here. Birmingham is trying to position itself as more than just a football town or a college sports town. It wants to be part of the global soccer conversation. And for Legion fans, that should be meaningful, because when FIFA, World Cup winners, local leadership, you have a men's national team player that's represented there and giving back to the community, and USL Club, all part of the same conversation. That tells you something about where the sport is heading locally. Jonathan Hoppy here of WBRC and Pat Byington from Beham Now with a little bit of the coverage there. Really cool to see. And it boosted attendance in Protective Stadium, almost a little bit over 5,000 in attendance for the game against Miami that took place on Thursday night midweek action here. Clean sheets though, missed chances on the night. It was a tense 0-0 draw, with both sides showing defensive discipline but lacking the final touch in front of goal. Birmingham, they did try to set the tone early. Dom was rolling a shot just wide, but Miami grew into the half through Mason Tunbridge, Gerald Diaz, Jurgen Locadia, Alessandro Milesi. They fired narrowly wide after a good setup from Turnbridge. The second half opened up a bit more. Eloy Room came up big for Miami, denying Diarbian, as well as Peter Lee Vassell and Goma, while Birmingham goalkeeper Colelat made some saves of his own, including a late stop on Sonora deep in added time. Birmingham finished with more of the ball and more attacking volume, but Miami held firm just to earn that valuable road point, as well as a clean sheet for both sides. But with the World Cup trophy in Birmingham, the club's largest home crowd of the season, the occasion was there, the finishing wasn't, but a clean sheet is positive, I think you can say. But also, it's a great occasion. More people can come out, and to not see any goals for Birmingham, it feels like 2 points maybe left on the table. FC Communications, Birmingham Legion FC Communications there with the coverage. Let's talk now Monterey Bay. I'm going to take a sip of water before getting into this one, because we know one of the first effects of the coaching carousel had its effect on Jordan Stewart and Monterey Bay. So it was Alex Covella, the 47-year-old, making his coaching debut last weekend against FC Tulsa, both sides needing something, and Monterey Bay did look a refreshed side, especially to kick things off in this one, pressing with more intensity, showing a clearer structure from the start. The hosts did find the opener when Elijah Paul in the 25th minute continued his strong run of form, reacting quickest after Glasgow's back post header was saved and tapping it home to give Monterey Bay its first lead of the season, believe it or not. But Tulsa regrouped in the halftime break, and they went out with a cause. In the 49th minute, Jamie Weber converted from the penalty spot after Lucas Stauffer was brought down near the edge of the box, leveling the match. Just 8 minutes later, Bailey Sparks laid the ball off for Kosevsky, who finished to put the Scissortails in front in the 57th minute. Monterey Bay pushed late. They did have a controversial moment in stoppage time when Wesley Leggett went down in the box, but it wasn't too much to give a penalty. The referee said, no, not going to do it. Tulsa did hold on to, without allowing a second half shot on goal, closing out a 2-1 road win, taking 6 points from its Western road trip before returning to One Oak Field. They flipped it after halftime, so good response there. Kosevsky delivered the decisive moment. Monterey Bay, Paul was the bright spot again, scoring for the third consecutive match, believe it or not, and giving the club its first lead of the season. That's certainly, the positive you can take. Alex Cavella's debut gave Monterey Bay perhaps a different feel. The first half did have a bit more of collective pressing and belief. The second half showed obviously still work to do. 90 minutes, after all, is in a game of a soccer match. But yeah, Paul, first lead of the season, 3,600 in attendance there. But Tulsa recovering 7 points from losing positions in league play, the most in the USL Championship this season. Alex Cavella did say that they showed, from Monterey Bay's side, a different mentality and aggressiveness, especially in the first half, but emphasized the team still needs to clean up technical details in training. What that means, well, TBD, John Morgan, FC Tulsa there, and BFC Communications. Let's talk what happens right after the fact. Monterey Bay go back on the road, this time to Kentucky in Lexington at Sporting Club Stadium. Gerald Flores, the match official here, 5,108 in attendance at Lexington Sporting Club Stadium. Lexington coming out with intent after a 5-game winless stretch. So huge opportunity here for Monterey Bay. And Nick Fermito made sure that Monterey Bay paid for a slow attacking start. So what happened in FC Tulsa did not happen here against Lexington. This time Lexington coming out with the better of the first half, with Brown's long throw flicked on by Ordonez. Firmino reacting at the back post to put Lexington in front in the 26th minute. And then 5 minutes later, it's almost like that goal gave him enough confidence to strike again, this time taking a clever outside the boot ball from Marcus Epps, shifting it onto his right foot and finishing for a first half brace. Monterey Bay struggling to create before halftime, managing just one shot in the opening 45 minutes. So you talk about the tail end of last game against FC Tulsa, not registering a shot on goal. So then the first half against Lexington, only one shot in the opening 5 minutes. And it just goes from bad to worse. Lexington adding a third in the 56th minute when Aaron Malloy picked out a really nice ball to none other than Phillip Goodrum. After having his goal turned off for offside, he comes back, gets it this time to count. He got it his finish to the bottom corner of his first goal with the club. A true huge goal there for Goodrum and Lexington. But Monterey Bay finally found a response after the hour mark with substitute Sebastian Leggett scoring his first goal for Monterey Bay after the Feyenoord former player Chris Kevin Nadje set him up inside the box. So two of the new signings really linking up there. It was a great goal, no doubt about it. Certainly for Sebastian Leggett's side, it can boost the confidence. He was high-profile signing, would be one of the most tenured LA Galaxy players of all time, within the top 25 of most minutes played for the Galaxy. Man, oh man, he finds the net there. And they tie the second half. You want to look at the positives. They did improve late. I think Mazevich was quite good. Egwu, Leggett, all getting looks as Monterey Bay pushed it to make it more interesting. And they really did. But Lexington had already done the damage with that 3-goal advantage. And that's when it's just, you need another goal to really get something out of the game. And it was too little too late for Monterey Bay's side. But Firmino's quick fire brace looked good. Phillip Goodrum for his Lexington goal. We talked about those 4 teams that can make a better push in the second quarter of the season. And this could be the performance that tilts it in the favor of Lexington. A really crucial 3 goals, 3 points for them. And so I'd say, after 5 league matches without a win, 3 goals from 3 different attacking moments is exactly kind of reset Lexington needed. And for Mito's brace, obviously the headline, and Goodrum finally scoring his first goal, but also from Monterey Bay, Sebastian Lletget scoring his first goal. That's huge, but they fall to 0-7-2 with 2 points so far from 9 matches. It's only, I believe, them and Sporting Jacks that do not have a win yet. Loudoun do have a win, and we'll talk about them in their match against Brooklyn because that was huge. But first, we need to talk about Lou City taking on Pittsburgh. Before we get into Louisville in this match, this one feels like a real measuring stick match for Rob Vincent and the Riverhounds because his start at interim boss last year was almost storybook, right? Unbeaten run, playoff surge, first league title in Riverhounds history, but now comes the harder part, building a team that can sustain the level across a full season. Dikwa is back, scoring goals. Trevor Amon has added another attacking piece, and Pittsburgh are trying to play with more fluidity in possession, but defensively there have been questions. Going into Louisville against, a really solid side, Lynn Family Stadium, it's a serious test. Pittsburgh's still title standard, or are they still figuring out who they are under Vincent? But hey, in this one, title standard for sure. They landed the first punch almost immediately on the road here in Louisville. In the 9th minute, Robbie Mertz curled a free kick towards the back post. Lassie Kelp won the header. Trevor Amon slipped between Louisville defenders net at home before Danny Foundas could react. And boom, Louisville responded with some sustained pressure, forcing Capuzano into saves on Akale, Perez, and Wilson. But the Hounds carry the lead going into halftime. Pittsburgh nearly doubling it after the break when Sam Bassett rattled the crossbar from distance. And the chance felt like a warning shot because 7 minutes later into the second half, Bassett, he got it right after receiving a pass from Charles All. He cut onto his right foot, unleashed a knuckling strike from 26 yards to the top right corner to put the visitors firmly in control. Louisville, they kept pushing, piling up shots, crosses, and corners, but Capuzano refused to let the match turn. The biggest sequence, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check out socials, check out the highlights, because in the 74th minute, he denied Evan Davila through traffic and then recovered to smother Chris Donovan's follow-up. Certainly will be the save of the week, in my opinion. It was a great back-to-back double save from Capuzano. Pittsburgh absorbing that pressure, defending deep, holding on for the clean sheet. Capuzano's wall, Bassett, his rocket, stunning Louisville at home. Pittsburgh, a huge 3 points here. Was this a smash and grab or a statement road win? It was both. Louisville dominated the statistical profile. 64% possession, 12 corner kicks, 7 shots on target, 49 crosses. But from Pittsburgh's side of things, they did it. 3 shots, 2 goals, 7 saves, and a clean sheet away to Louisville. That's not sustainable every week, but a one-off result, it is massive. Louisville City suffering consecutive USL Championship defeats for the first time since a 3-game streak in 2023, their second home loss of the season. Meanwhile, from Pittsburgh's side of things, first league clean sheet of the season. Capuzano was superb in this one, their 3rd win at Lynn Family Stadium, more than any other visiting team since the stadium opened in 2020. Pittsburgh remained the only USL Championship team with a winning all-time record in Louisville at 6-4-3. So when Pittsburgh comes to town in Louisville at Lynn Family Stadium, it's usually not a good sign for the hosts, that's for sure. But man, oh man, Riverhound staff, USLChampionship.com staff there with the coverage. Tremendous result for the defending USL champions. Speaking of the World Cup, we got to talk about Hartford, and this is a very interesting story. Hartford Athletics goalkeeping coach is heading to the World Cup. That's right, Dan Gaspar has been appointed the goalkeeper coach for the Ghana national team ahead of the tournament this summer. This marks Gaspar's 3rd appearance on soccer's biggest stage. He has previously worked with Portugal, Iran, and South Africa. Gaspar is a Hartford native who now lives in Glastonbury, who has more than 35 years experience training goalkeepers. He had said this about the opportunity to coach with Ghana at the World Cup. Representing a nation at the World Cup is one of the highest honors in football. I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to work with the Ghana national team and for the 3rd World Cup with head coach Carlos Queiroz. I am honored to contribute to their success on the world stage. Gaspar founded the Star Goalkeeper Academy back in 1995. He has trained thousands of young athletes over the years. He will take a leave of absence from Hartford to join the Ghana national team. The World Cup runs from June 11th through July 19th, with matches being played in U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Ghana's first match is June 17 against Panama in Toronto. Congratulations to Dan Gaspar. I mean, Portugal, Iran, and now Ghana. What a resume he has. And the fact that he's, at his local club in Hartford, doing the dishes there, we could say, in terms of training goalkeepers. I mean, you see the improvement that's happened with Anthony Siaha since joining the club, and that's credit to the coaches as well off the seat, and he's certainly one of them. Congratulations, really cool to say. So anytime you watch Ghana this World Cup, let people know, hey, their goalkeeper coach is a USL goalkeeping coach. Definitely have to match that. So let's talk about Hartford because, quick tactical note here from John Morrissey over at backheel.com. Hartford's April scoring drought might look like a finishing problem, but there's more under the hood. The expected goal says chances were there, but the bigger issue is that Hartford's transition game has slowed. Their set-piece threat is down. And without Samaria available, they've lost a lot of dynamism on the left. So the question is it just poor finishing and bad health? Or is Hartford's 2026 attack still searching for a new identity? Well, they find it here at in Hartford against Detroit. They played through a slow. It was a rainy first half, but the second half is when things picked up. It was Detroit really starting in the second half. They threatened in the second half through Darren Smith, none other than him, but Siaha turned his low effort wide. Hartford finding the opener in this one, the 59th minute after a half-cleared set piece dropped to Samuel Carriaga, whose long-range strike deflected through traffic, and wrong-footed Herrera. Detroit finding a late lifeline in the 84th minute when a corner was flicked on and deflected off Adrian Dispe for an own goal. But then Dispe got his redemption almost immediately. In the 89th minute, Matt Real delivered a corner into the box. Dispe rose to head the winner, turning a chaotic personal sequence into a decisive moment. Happens a lot in soccer matches, where a player scores their own goal and then immediately after feels like, oh gosh, I need to get back. I need to contribute to a goal on the other side of things. And Dispe canceled it out in huge fashion. Hartford did manage to get the 2-1 victory against a solid Detroit side. Their set-piece pressure shaped the match, both their goals coming from second ball or corner kick situations. And they finally attack the end of the attacking drought. While Detroit's road form remains a concern, Carriaga was excellent for Hartford in this one, scoring the opener, finishing with 3 shots, 4 chances created, 19 completed passes from 26, and 9 recoveries. His 59th minute goal also ended Hartford's scoreless streak at 420 minutes. For Detroit, Kobe Hernandez-Foster, Darren Smith produced the clearest attacking moments, but Le Rouge couldn't build enough sustained pressure away from home. But from a coaching standpoint, Brendan Burke, congratulations, he hits a major milestone, earning his 100th career USL Championship victory as Hartford's general manager and head coach, a kind of result that could perhaps restart Hartford's season after finally finding the back of the net. So congratulations to Brendan Burke and Hartford for the win across Bethlehem Steel, Switchbacks, and Hartford 100 USL Championship wins, putting his name in the records books. Couple more matches to cover, and we're back at the Lab in New Mexico. After coming off that 2-2 draw, they take on and host a Las Vegas side, and they made their unbeaten run at Isotopes Park continue to 10 matches. The host striking in the 34th minute with Niall Reed-Steven, finishing off a setup from Zico Bailey for his team-leading 3rd goal of the season. Las Vegas did answer quickly in the 40th minute through Olex Anderson, which was assisted by Christian Pinzon. Rodriguez was also involved in the build-up. That dynamic trio has been great for Las Vegas so far this season. Halftime tied 1-1, but United coming out with more intention after the break. Ousmane Jabang restoring the lead in the 53rd minute from Dayon Harris' assist before Zico Bailey himself delivered the moment of the night in the 73rd minute, smashing home from outside the box to give New Mexico breathing room and still a 3-1 win in front of 8,655 fans. From Las Vegas side, their road issues continued. They show flashes, but defensive gaps and slow starts remain a problem. But Olex Anderson did take his equalizer well and gave Las Vegas a foothold before the halftime. But Isotopes Park really turning into one of the toughest trips in the West at the moment. Carlos Tenorio II there and Molvera with the sources for the respective clubs of Las Vegas and New Mexico and USL Championship side of things. Let's get into Colorado taking on Orange County. We do have to shout out Colorado Switchbacks Alan McCann. He was voted April's Coach of the Month after leading the squad to an undefeated month across all competitions. And this one, it's more of the same from what we were talking about Colorado. They have no trouble finding the back of the net, but it's, keeping goals out of the net as well. Orange County visiting them at Widener Field. They look sharp on the road so far and found the opening in the 22nd minute, when Chris Hagar broke through the Colorado's back line, fired a shot that clipped the underside of the crossbar before crossing the line. Colorado Springs did answer deep in the first half stoppage time after Corey Bennett was brought down in the box. The April Player of the Month contender nomination did step up and calmly convert from the penalty to send the match into halftime tied 1-1. Orange County did regain the lead again in the 65th minute through a moment of individual quality from Usmana Sila, who drove through Switchback's defense and finished through the legs of goalkeeper Christian Herrera to make it 2-1. But Colorado Springs kept pushing in the 90th plus 6 again in the stoppage time. Ironically, 45 plus 6, 90 plus 6. This time is Tyrick McGee delivering the moment of the match. A left foot strike from 25 yards that crashed off the crossbar and in salvaging a 2-2 draw at Widener Field. Some late drama in both halves from Colorado Springs. Tyrick McGee coming off the bench producing the headline moment. But from Orange County side, they had gotten the lead twice in both halves. Usman Sila scoring a brilliant solo goal. And it was a point earned for Colorado Springs, or 2 dropped by Orange County. I think Colorado deserves credit for fighting until the end of each match. We talk about the fact that they don't have problems scoring goals. Orange County did have the lead twice and were seconds away from taking all 3 on the road, so heartbreaking there. Taylor Villapando there, as well as Orange County SC Communications. Let's talk about Loudoun finally getting a W in the column against Brooklyn on the road to Brooklyn. Loudoun United found the moment they needed on the road, earning that 1-0 victory at Isotopes Park. Brooklyn started with energy, with Taimu Okiyoshi testing from distance early on, while Obregon Jr. striking in the post from a free kick in the 22nd minute, but Loudoun made their set-piece chance count just 4 minutes later, 26th minute. Pedro Santos delivering into the box, and who other than Ufarsson swinging his Thor hammer, rising highest to head home the opener. Brooklyn kept pushing, with April Player of the Month contendee Marcus Anderson forcing a strong save for Budry before halftime, but several second-half looks from Olney Jr., Pinto, Thomas Van Kazile, and Stefan Stojanovic. Loudoun still having to defend deep and managing to pressure late, but Lucas Burns also made some key stops to keep Brooklyn alive. The red and white secure the clean sheet and all 3 points. First win relief for Loudoun. Not their cleanest performance, but they won the game in both boxes, exactly as Anthony Librick wanted. Budry came up with some key saves. Ulferson scored the match winner with a strong-headed finish. And this is a result that, could settle Loudoun's season down. Could certainly help with that. A road clean sheet, a set-piece goal, some late defensive discipline. Unfortunate 3 points lost at home, or a point lost even for Brooklyn's side of things after hitting the post in the first half. So, wow. It leaves, like I said, only 2 teams still searching for their victory, Sporting Jacks and Monterey Bay, to start this season. Let's talk about Sporting Jacks visiting Michael A. Carroll Stadium in Indiana. Indy 11 here hosting this side with 8,419 people in attendance at Michael A. Carroll Stadium. Sporting Jacks did look poised to steal something on the road after striking just before halftime. In the 45th minute, it was Ahmad Al-Kak who found the back of the net off an assist from Yaskalainen, marking Al-Kak's first professional goal and giving Jacksonville a 1-0 lead heading into the break. Indy 11 did come roaring back after halftime. The 51st minute, Aiden Quinn delivering a corner from left. Bruno Rendon heading it home for his team-leading 4th league goal of the season. For Indy 11, the 65th minute, it was Neidlinger who hammered a long-range effort off the crossbar, and Anthony Herbert reacted best, using his 6'4" frame to head the rebound down into the corner for his first Indy goal. Jacksonville goalkeeper Christian Oliveras kept his side alive, 9 saves on the night, but Indy's pressure eventually leading to a 2-1 comeback win at home at Michael A. Carroll Stadium. Indy's home form does keep rolling. They extended their home unbeaten streak to 7 matches, dating back to last season, believe it or not. So they're becoming also one of the toughest home teams in the East. 7 unbeaten homes, more than just a nice streak. Shows a bit of identity. And shout out to all the fans showing their support for Indy 11 in this one. Rhode Island taking on Tampa Bay Rowdies at Centerville Bank Stadium. Williams haunts his former club. They snatch a late point here, but Tampa Bay Rowdies looked on track for a tough road win. They found the opener in the 20th minute after some sustained pressure from a corner sequence. Max Schneider delivered a pinpoint ball to the back post where Pedro Dolabella was left unmarked and headed home his first goal for the Rowdies to make it 1-0. Rhode Island had created early danger through Hugo Bacharach and Joji Kuzera, but Jamali Waite came up big in the goal to keep the hosts off the board before halftime. Second half tightened up in a bit. Tampa Bay limited Rhode Island's clear looks, but in the 85th minute, the Ocean State Club finally found its moment. Scardino whipped in across from the right. Former Rowdies forward J.J. Williams flicked a header inside the left post to level the match at 1-1. That's the way it would finish. Rowdies do remain unbeaten, but they drop a bit of a chance to get 3 points on the road. Max Schneider was really solid so far in this one. I mean, he had assisted Dolabella's opener and some strong midfield work, winning 8 of 13 duels. Wait for Tampa Bay Rowdies making 5 saves on the night. So maybe we could say a good point for Tampa Bay instead of more of a missed opportunity. They still remain unbeaten. They get a decent point on the road. It's just a former player haunts them with J.J. Williams. But 1-1 draw there between Rhode Island and Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay still undefeated, the only side left undefeated so far in the USL 2026 campaign. 2 more games to talk about before we go into the league table. It's Oakland Roots taking on El Paso. And El Paso Locomotive coming out flying, stunning Oakland almost immediately with Rubin finding the back of the net in the 3rd minute, now to notch his 7th goal of the season. But the match changed dramatically in the 18th minute when Palermo Ortiz was shown a straight red card, forcing El Paso to defend with 10 men for more than 70 minutes. This is happening for the 2nd time this season. Oakland kept applying the pressure and finally found the equalizer in first half stoppage time as Peter Wilson finished inside the 6-yard box after a cross from De Vicente. From there, Oakland controlled the tempo. The decisive moment came in the 83rd minute from a brand new face. Tucker Lepley, just 28 minutes into his Roots debut. Deloney from LA Galaxy dancing past 2 defenders at the edge of the 18 near the top of the box. And boom, unleashing a gorgeous, nice curled rocket into the top left corner to make it 2-1. Oakland saw out the final minutes to hand El Paso its first regular season road loss of the year and moving into tie for 2nd in the Western Conference. Red card flipping the match, obviously, in that one. But Lepley's winner, not just decisive, a statement moment in his first appearance of the club, pumping up the Coliseum on the night, with 4,000 people in attendance there. In Oakland becoming a serious Western Conference contender, that we can say they find themselves just a point behind San Antonio in the West, but with a game in hand over them. And it's been a really good start from Oakland side of things. Their last game that they lost in the championship, you have to go back to when was it? It was March 29th when they took on Orange County at home. But since then, they haven't lost. Only 1 loss so far in the regular season for them. 4 wins, 4 draws. Oakland looking like a really solid side in the West. From Phoenix and San Antonio side of things, the San Antonio's point on the road to Phoenix keeps them ahead of any team in the Western Conference. They look positioned for a strong road win, but it was, Phoenix Rising coming back in this one. It was Aerofev who came on as an early substitute, believe it or not, but he finished off a ball from Emil Aquilo in the 45th plus 3rd minute to give San Antonio the lead going into halftime. The timing did feel massive too. I mean, especially with Phoenix reduced to 10 men after Charlie Dennis was sent off right before the halftime whistle. But despite playing with the extra man for the entirety of the second half, San Antonio couldn't fully close the game out, and Phoenix stayed alive, and they finally found their equalizer in the 80th minute through Adrian Pelayo, turning the match into a 1-1 draw. Pelayo has finished superbly taking the 19-year-old for his first professional goal. Phoenix Rising didn't take the victory, but extended the undefeated streak in league play to 4 games, its longest of the season, so far. Congratulations to Pelayo for getting a goal, for what a debut goal, what amazing stuff at home, despite being down a man for the entirety of the second half. So it definitely feels like 2 points dropped from San Antonio's side of things. The positive is that San Antonio is still sitting first in the West, but the warning sign is game management, especially late defending on set pieces. Let's talk about the league table. Let's also talk about the top scorer and assist. It is Rubio Rubin with the top score at the moment, 7 goals, but also Corey Bennett with his penalty kick goal this past weekend against OC. He's also tied for the Golden Boot. Christian Parano, is at the top of the assist board, tied with Wolfgang Prentice, but goals and assists does go to Rubio Rubin with 9 on the season. Isan Sacco at 8, as well as with Wolfgang Prentice with 8 too. So interesting stuff there. Let's talk about league table side of things. And the Eastern side of things, Tampa Bay still at the top. 8 matches played, 18 points, 5 wins, 3 draws there. They sit atop of the Eastern Conference. Meanwhile, Louisville City right behind them with 16 points. But here's the warning sign: 3 losses in their last 5 matches from Louisville side of things. So they could start slipping down the Eastern Conference table. They do take on Miami next in the USL Championship, so that could maybe give them a boost. But it is a Miami side fresh off of a draw against Birmingham. So here we go. Louisville City in second place with 16 points. Then tied for third are, get this, 4 teams tied for third. Charleston Battery, Detroit, Hartford, Miami, and Pittsburgh, all sitting with 13 points excuse me, in the Eastern Conference, which is crazy. Absolutely nuts. Detroit having a really good goal differential there. 8 games played. Them, Hartford, and Miami. Pittsburgh do have 9 games played. Indy 11 at the moment in 8th place, we could say, with 12 points, but really also sitting, you could say, 4th place. Birmingham Legion in 9th place with 10 points. Rhode Island in 10th place with 9 points. Loudoun, from their first win, are now 8 points to the good. They leapfrog Brooklyn in the table. Brooklyn and Sporting Jacks, the 2 new teams in the USL Championship, finding themselves at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, with Sporting Jacks only having 1 draw in 9 games instead of 8 losses. Meanwhile, Brooklyn side of things, only 1 win in their last 5, 3 losses in their last 5, a draw against Sacramento, 2 wins, 1 draw, and 6 losses so far with 7 points to the good. From Western Conference side of things, San Antonio at the top with 17 points after 10 matches played. Oakland Roots sitting behind them with 16 points and a game in hand. Orange County tied with Oakland Roots in second place with 16 points. El Paso Locomotive sitting behind Orange County in 4th place with 14 points. Then you have Phoenix and Sacramento tied mid-table, 5th and 6th place with 13 points respectively. FC Tulsa, after back-to-back wins, find themselves in the playoff contention, 7th place with 12 points. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, even though they're tied with points on New Mexico, they do have the goal differential. They sit in 8th place. Outside of the playoff zone is New Mexico, but just on goal difference, so they have 10 points. Meanwhile, bottom 3 are as follows. Lexington, after their win, have 9 points from 9 matches, sit a point behind New Mexico and Colorado. Then you have Las Vegas with 8 points in 11th place. Bottom of the table in Western Conference is Monterey Bay FC, but we are back with not USL Championship matches, but instead we have the USL Cup coming, with group stage recommencing on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have Greenville Triumph Greenville Triumph hosting Loudoun United. Half an hour later, Charlotte Independence hosts Pittsburgh Riverhounds. On Saturday, May 16, more of the group stage will follow. 4 p.m. Eastern, Portland Hearts of Pine hosts Rhode Island. At 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, May 16, you have Forward Madison hosting Detroit. Richmond hosting Charleston. 7 p.m. Eastern, more action in Florida. Miami FC will take on Tampa Bay Rowdies for a USL Championship competition there. Intra matchup. Miami hosts Tampa Bay there. 1 Knoxville hosts San Antonio at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern for Pacific. You also have Chattanooga Red Wolves SC hosting Birmingham Legion on Saturday, May 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Same time, Brooklyn takes on Hartford, another intra-conference matchup there. So that should be a really good match. I'm looking forward to that one. Fort Wayne will host Indy 11 at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Oakland Roots host Sacramento Republic at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Then you have Corpus Christi at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific hosting FC Tulsa. Boise will host Monterey Bay at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. On Saturday at the same time, you'll have Colorado Springs Switchbacks hosting New Mexico United. And an hour later, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Phoenix Rising hosting Orange County on Sunday. This is how things look on May 17th, 5 p.m. Eastern. You'll have FC Naples hosting Sporting Jacks, Union Omaha hosting Louisville City, and the last match on Sunday, Spokane Velocity hosting Las Vegas Lights, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. And that's what things will look like in the USL Cup. And we'll make it towards the end. I am recording on a Monday, quite early. It's 8:40 in the morning here on Central European time. Before I close out and get you this content for your weeks, guys, have a great week. We'll be back next week talking USL Cup and seeing how things are unfolding there. In the meantime, have a great week. All the best. Take care. And you know where to find me if you do. All the best, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.